I'm down in the studio. I've got my easel set up with my pre-toned canvas, and I put a few paints out. And real quick, I wanted to just remind us of what our mission is going to be on this particular painting. And, you know, granted, this is a 16 by 20. It's not huge like this one that I did before. Now, this one's not completely done either, by the way. But here's the thing. We want to work quick. We want to be bold. We want to have fun. We want to just let go. Mostly we want to have fun. Because if this is your first time doing a big canvas, it's really easy to get overcome by it and intimidated and not even finish it. Believe me, I've been there and done that. So in order to avoid that, what we're going to keep in mind is we're just going to have fun. You know, you can always remind yourself that if this canvas doesn't turn out, I can gesso over it. I can use it again and again and again, you know? So remind yourself you can always paint over. You can always add more layers. That is what's going to make your painting really beautiful, I promise. Just don't get so bogged down with making it perfect. All right, so I've got this printed out. And this was one of the first ones that came up in my Google search for hollyhocks. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, that's actually good. So what I want you to notice, and this is pretty similar now, this is a little bit lighter than this. This looks really black, and black can be cold and boring. I wanted to make it a little lighter, and typically a lot of paintings look better if they're just a little bit lighter, by the way, than you think you need to make them. Because think of them in the home. When this is up on somebody's wall, very often it's kind of dark in houses. You want paintings to be light, or not too dark. So we can always come back and add darks strategically later on at the end. So let's start diving in here. I got a pre-wet brush, and I'm not going to talk a lot right now. I want to get into this and just kind of start. Let me get a little bit of water on here. And I want to basically lay in, I'm going to mix some of that yellow in there. And I want to start laying in my mid-tone green leaves that you see on here. You know, these, you know, just those middle green leaves that you see all throughout there. And I'm just going to do, this brush might be too big, but I am intentionally going to do that. I'm going to intentionally use a big brush. Here, I'm going to shift my color just ever so slightly. And I guess what I want to do is create some movement. Some of these are going to go off. And I'm noticing these little blobs and things like that. You know? So this is fun. This is really fun. Let's shift the color again. Sometimes I shift the color to be brownish in with that green. Look how I'm holding the brush. I want you to notice how I'm holding the brush. You know, that forces me to be loose. Notice I wasn't putting any of my leaves going off the bottom. And that's not good because this is a garden scene. The leaves are going to go all the way off the bottom. Sometimes I'll just limit my strokes. I'll tell myself, what if I just slow down and do my leaves like that? Yeah. Let's go back to some lighter yellow, lighter yellow-green. And it's just a loose, fun feeling. Make sure some of your stuff goes off the edges. And I'd say that's actually pretty good. The only thing I don't like is that big wide thing right there, but I can come back in and edit that later. So I'm not going to really worry about that too much. I'd say that's a really great first step. Now, these are nice mid-tone colors. I do want to put a little bit of black here and there maybe, and maybe just a little bit of fun technique. So I'm going to go over here to my dark plate where I had some brown previously. Make it a little bit watery, add a tiny bit of, well, you know what, let's just see what happens with that. Tiny bit of blue. What happens if I get a little looser with some kind of drippier stuff here and there? Force some of that looseness in there, right? I love splatters. Now I'm also going to get some black. I got a very fluid black here. Yeah, just a tiny bit of that. And, you know, what if I were to do this? See how it just immediately kind of brings contrast right there? Yeah, I like that. And that's probably going to look really, really cool later on when I want my flowers to really pop. I'm thinking here's going to be my center, you know, where I really want the center of attention to be. So that's kind of why see how I can redefine that, and I made that much thinner now. That thing that was bothering me before. So I'm getting just a few darks in there. I'm making a few intentional drips that come down. And that's probably it for this step. Don't do too much. This is enough right there. All right, so I'll see you on the next step.